Very interesting question because when you're talking about energy transition, I think it's important to have a short-term perspective as well as a long-term perspective. So let me actually talk about what is it that we as a global community and all the governments coming together need to do till 2030. So I would say we need to move from having renewable energy, which currently is about 26% in the electricity mix, to about 65% by 2030. We need to see much more electrification happening. So, it needs to move from the current amount of, say, 21% in the overall energy mix to about 30%. We also need to be looking at energy efficiency more actively. We need to be, not just doubling, but more than doubling the expenditure and investments that go into energy efficiency, because energy efficiency and electrification are really going to be the key drivers, and they will be enabled by renewable energy, by green hydrogen, by modern biomass, and other technologies like carbon capture. So these are the things that we need to be seeing. Also, very importantly, what we need to be seeing is the focus shifting to the end use. So these are, as you know, and especially in the case of India, where we're not using gas for heating or cooling, but the industrial processes need to be aligned with becoming more, either they go into more electrification for their processes, or looking at other ways like bringing in hydrogen for heating in the industrial processes that is very needed. We probably also need to be looking at how we can be looking at more electric cars. And if you and I had to take a decision in 2030, we should probably be looking at buying an electric car at that time. So we are at a very important cusp in India, where at one level this target looks very massive and something that will require a lot of effort, but also look at where we are in terms of the solar ecosystem in the country. In this last decade, a very strong ecosystem has been built, and now it's being coupled with the missing piece in the puzzle, as I would call it, the manufacturing. So what's coming together in the ecosystem is that you have a huge incentive that's being placed on manufacturing in the solar space coming from the PLI. You're looking at IPPs that are really now very strong. These are IPPs which I remember just a decade back, they were looking at 5 megawatts, 10 megawatts, and that used to be a big number. And now these are, capable of delivering 1 gigawatt of solar in a year. So there is this really robust system of IPPs that have come into the solar space. And more importantly, having this long-term visibility that the government of India has put for the markets to grow is so important, because that's when investors will start actively looking at supporting this growth. So I think you have all these pieces coming together, which is probably very not just beneficial, but it will actually see India move in the direction of getting to the commitment which the Honorable Prime Minister has stated in Glasgow of about 500 gigawatts. I think the stage is really being set with the policies, with the investors, with the IPPs and the manufacturing all coming together. So let me start by saying that we need to jump onto this bandwagon in India early enough, because it's not that the technology is something that we don't understand. Electrolyzers is technology we understand. I mean, there might be, whether we go for a PM based electrolyzer or AEM, those are issues that we can still be discussing, and that's really something that the industry could do. But in terms of having the availability of cheap renewable electricity and the ability to deploy that fast enough, we have that in India. We have the availability of water. And these two are really the key that will allow India to move into the green hydrogen space. Now, couple this with the strength that the Indian industry has of being able to do engineering at low cost, frugal engineering. And that actually is a very important element of being able to transform this sector not only as being able to produce green hydrogen and to be able to export the molecules to the other other countries, and there can be a whole trade along this line, but more importantly to emerge as the key manufacturing country of having availability of electrolyzer producing capacity that can feed to many other countries. So I think as I mentioned that we have the elements of the ecosystem that are in place. From my point of view, I think what's important is for us to look at policy innovation and lead in policy innovation as well. So currently, I personally think that PM Kusum and the rooftop, which together will contribute about 50 gigawatts of renewable energy. These are two very important programs of the government. But I think much more progress needs to be seen on the ground. And I would say that if you're looking at re-looking at how policy interventions can actually kickstart investments in this, that's, I think, going to be really very important because, these are really decentralized applications. We have done very well in utility scale, large farms, but together with these kind of decentralized applications and the ability to be able to deploy these at speed, combined, we will really have a powerhouse of how India is seen in the world as being a leader in both aspects of renewable energy.